Good evening, everyone. This is the Ayer Conservation Commission meeting. It is Thursday, March 9th, 2023. Commissioners in attendance this evening. We have Jenna Maya as member. We have George Bacon as member. We have Jessica Gino as member clerk. Mark Phillips, vice chair, and myself, John Schmallenberger, as chair. Heather Hampson, conservation agent.
I wasn't listening.
You weren't listening?
I missed.
Okay. Do we have confirmation of agenda?
Yeah, it's fine.
As is?
As is.
Motion to approve the agenda as written.
So,
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
I
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. The approval of meeting minutes for February 9th, 2023. Everyone have an opportunity to check them out, look for errors.
Page 2.
Oh,
It is cyanobacteria, right? As opposed to cyan bacteria.
Oh, where did you see that one?
First big circly empty bullet.
Oh, cyan bacteria. Okay. Good one.
I think that's all the only spot. Was that the test? Did I win?
Yes. Grand prize. You can do minutes now.
No.
that makes your day, doesn't it?
That's
Finding those.
it's like where's
Thank
Waldo?
you.
Anything else?
That's all I found. Nice job, Jen.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes February 9th, 2023 as amended.
Well, see, I think there you
Second.
say as corrected. It makes it even more humiliating.
We're going for maximum humiliation. As correct. It was
Okay.
Second.
second. All in favor, say aye.
I
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. Okay, this is the time in our meeting for public input. If there's anyone here who's not on the agenda that would like to ask a question or make a comment, now's the time. Okay, and hearing none, we will move on. Our first item this evening is a request for determination of applicability, 186 Woodland Way, to install a 12 by 14 foot shed on property. Rocco and Karen
Champa.
Champa?
Champ. Hi.
Hello.
Could you join us, please? You want to pull up another chair and join us at the big table? Would you kindly tell us a little bit about what you would like to do?
We're hoping to put a 12 by 14 shed. 12 by 14 shed. It's delivered by the Barnyard store in Ellington, Connecticut. We have to sort of put like a
Retaining wall.
retaining wall, but out of pavers, like.
So I went out to the site because first when they came to me, like, oh, we could just do administrative approval. It's easy, just a shed. We'll put some stone underneath it
Right.
and do that. And then when I went to go look at it, the lot's not even.
Yep.
So in order to put the shed up there, they actually have to build it up in order to do that. So now they're gonna have to possibly build some sort of small retaining wall in order to bring fill in to make it level to put that shed in. I go, that's a little bit more labor intensive. Better come in for an RDA.
The highest would be 3 and it would go down to, nothing.
This is one of the lots over in Pingree Hill that has the conservation area in the back, so their lot's pretty restrictive as far as the back of it goes. So it's a weird shaped lot that has a lot of restrictions on it. And unfortunately, with the slope that the property has and the grading on it, they're going to have to bring some sort of fill type in order to make it level enough to put a shed up.
How deep was the fill that
The maximum would be 3 feet.
3 feet?
Yeah.
And you know what you would use for the wall?
What is it? The wall would just be pavers.
The wall would just be the pavers. Why can't I?
Like a
Like a
landscaping
landscaping
paver.
paver.
Yeah.
And that's what the wall
They-
will
they
be.
s- they
And then,
stack.
we actually thought about not even taking the dirt out. We'll just push the dirt that we have to dig out 4 inches in the front to bring it over to the back side of like where the wall
Keep
would
it
be,
in.
and then it would be 4 inches of 3/4 inch stone to hold the shed.
Yeah, there's a site prep that the company made us, you know, so told us what to do.
Yep.
So, and they just bring it on a truck and plop it.
That's the yeah.
They're gonna put it down, just lay it on top of the stone.
Yeah,
Right.
correct. Yes.
Are you putting any wood base to it or just right on the stone?
It looks like it has wood base on the bottom of it.
No, we weren't gonna do a wood base unless it's required. You think we should?
Okay. No, I'm just curious.
No, they say-
Is
no,
there
they-
a floor to it or no?
Say that
There's-
again?
Is there a floor in the shed or will you be on the stone inside
No,
the
it'll
shed?
be a floor, but they do have 1x4s that'll sit on those 1x4s. That'll sit on the.
There's a base
on the
right
stone.
on- in there?
It's not a base. It's a 1x4.
Yeah.
A frame? Okay.
Yeah, it's a frame.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not flat on the stone, so it wouldn't
Correct.
rot out. It has
A
that
stone
gap.
pad, they're
Yeah.
saying, it's 100% floor support, drainage, lifespan.
These stakes in the picture, is that
That
what
is
it's?
correct.
Yes, that we'd like it to go.
Yeah, I told them to stake it out.
Yeah.
Just so we can either bring pictures or if the commission wanted to go out, we'd have an idea of where it
Mm-hmm.
is.
If you could probably seen that picture, I ran a line across from the 2 posts that you guys, so somebody put in, and
So as we went Duchesne, when we did the COCs, we had to put those conservation, like
Post.
do not pass.
Oh.
So it's
Yeah.
those 3 that fall along the side of that,
Yeah.
in the back of the property.
And this would be in front of the boulders and those bushes, of course, way in front of the bushes.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of there's probably a good 10 feet,
Yeah.
if not more, before you get to that area. There's quite a bit of space, it's a weird lot.
Yeah, this would kind of
And they want to keep
give
it
us
kind of-
some privacy from the trains, and
the water, whatever you
yeah,
want to
I
call
mean,
it.
it looks
Water.
pretty sometimes, but
Yeah.
after they did their business last year, it looked
Terrible.
terrible.
It looked beautiful, and I take care of that, and I cut the lawn and everything. They just came along and just mowed it all down.
Yeah,
It
it
looked
was-
horrible.
Yeah, so this will hide that a little bit, give us some privacy and kind of just envelop the property a little bit.
So you don't really anticipate machinery to do that retaining wall, just
There's,
lay it
we
over?
have a cousin that's gonna come and do it, he's a
He's gonna have to
contractor.
scrape it out a little bit and everything with
Small
one of
little,
those
what do you call it?
excavators.
Small.
Little one. He
A
could
small-
pull. He could pull with his
Bobcat,
Yeah.
thank you. One of those things.
Yeah, yeah. I know what you mean.
Everybody's got a cousin, right? Every Champa has a cousin, I know that.
Yeah.
Questions?
I'm trying to think of how I pulled in there, we had drivers on this
Yeah, I
side.
think it's probably just a site visit, just take a look.
Yeah, I would like that too. If they
It looks
call
Well,
us to make
Heather's
sure
been
that-
great coming out.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a very windy day.
I
it was. Yeah.
And I'm sorry, did you say, so you ran a line from where the signs were?
I ran them from those 2 posts.
There's
This
a,
point, you probably
there's a
can't see
post
it.
here,
Yep.
and then
there's
there's
another
this
one
post,
here.
so he ran a line.
Up.
I ran a line here, and
Just so
there's
I knew not
boulders,
to go
there's
past
boulders
that-
here.
That post,
Oh,
that
okay.
line, that was post.
Okay. Yeah, based on where the drawing is, I guess I'm just trying to understand, is it outside the 50-foot, do we think?
Oh,
It looks pretty darn close.
It's pretty
but
probably
I think it's
close. I didn't try to measure it out on the mass
Right.
map
What's
or
that rule?
anything.
50 feet from the water top.
From the wetland line, just to get outside the 50-foot buffer.
The wet line,
The
the,
wetlands.
Yeah, so on your plot plan you have here. So this is the lot. This is the, and I didn't try to take a scale or anything to it.
so that would be within
So-
the trees, right?
Yeah,
In the
so-
middle?
I don't know exactly if that line
Yep.
is even, if that,
Hold on,
those
there's
posts
another-
are even close to
Where's
where that
the,
is.
where's that line on that one? 'Cause these are these are boulders here.
Right, so this should be your wetlands.
So I would
Oh,
assume
I
those boulders, yeah, I'm
think
gonna assume those
so.
boulders are probably at the 20, I wanna say the 25.
I would think it's
That would be
at
my
least-
guess.
Yeah. I mean, this is showing the,
I mean, I don't know when it was approved, how they did that, but
The
that's
100
typically
foot
when
up
they do
here.
those.
so they're showing 100-foot there, and where you placed it, we're probably, like, this is probably about 50 foot, basically, halfway between this.
Yeah.
So you're probably just about right there, and that's, I'm just curious.
I didn't take measurements, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, I mean, we can pace it out, get an idea.
Yeah,
I think it's probably,
in that area.
yeah, between 50 and 100 is where it looks like
Yeah,
it's
I
probably
mean,
sitting.
within maybe 5 feet or so, which,
Yeah.
on temporary structures.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that will not be a temporary structure either. You lift that up and move that wherever we had
You mean
to
it won't
if we
be
had to.
permanent?
Permanent, sorry.
Yeah,
It will not be a permanent
Right.
structure.
Yeah, no, understood.
So can we set up a time to come out and take a look?
Absolutely.
Our breakfast needs aren't too huge. Kidding.
No, no problem. We're friendly. You've all been there, I think. A lot of you walked it last summer.
Probably.
Yeah. And then we went in the back, and
Yeah, so Duke
Yeah.
Corner's house is just around the corner.
Duke's in the back, yeah.
Yeah.
Does this coming Saturday work for anybody?
I'm not available.
No. Following?
I can do
No,
it.
I can't.
You
I've been
going?
there though.
Following Saturday.
No, okay.
What time of the day? That's his mother's 101st birthday.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a luncheon.
Oh,
Yeah,
She's amazing. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's
It really
crazy.
is.
That's
Yeah.
good for her.
yeah,
She still lives by herself, everything. So she's got
yeah.
all her marbles, everything. So it's all
So
good.
mornings, you're saying morning of the morning?
yeah.
Absolutely, in
Yeah.
the morning, yeah.
Perfect.
It's always
That's March 18th.
a battle
Yeah.
for what time.
So March 18th. is the
March
date.
18th.
The day after St. Patrick's Day.
9 o'clock?
Said I'm not around, so.
Okay, I won't look at you. 9 o'clock?
And I've been on site, so I know what it looks like.
Yeah,
All
I've been
right,
there twice.
is that all right, Jess?
That's totally fine.
okay.
Jen, good, 9 a.m.?
Yeah, that should be fine. Plus, the time change now, it's gonna be darker earlier again for a little bit.
This weekend?
It's still
Yeah.
9 a.m.
Hmm?
It's still 9 a.m.
Good try.
All right, very good. We will
Okay.
see you at your
Great.
house, March 18th at 9 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you too for coming in, appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for your help, Heather.
No, you're very welcome.
All right, next item this evening is a public hearing that we will open under the Wetland Protection Act and also under the Ayer Wetland Bylaw. Notice of intent, Ayer Department of Public Works, Spectacle Pond Emergency Culvert Replacement. You up? Who's up? All of you, okay.
Just bring your own chairs.
Three of us here. but
So I don't know
just
if
don't know how many you need.
If any of you remember, that brought this to the commission's attention back in the, I don't know, in October, November, when they were going through and doing the work for the water main replacement, they had the culvert that collapsed.
Collapsed.
So we had them replace it, now they had to file notice of intent for the work after the fact, which is what this is.
This is a lot of stuff for,
So,
yeah,
And after,
to have to do after the fact.
so
Sorry.
we've got Dan, but not, who are you?
I'm
Ac-
Julia.
Julia?
Yes, Novotny.
You have to spell that.
Yeah, Novotny.
V-O-T-N.
I'm from Ty and Bond.
Okay, great. That way your name goes down in history. Great.
In the minutes, yeah.
You want to tell us exactly what happened and what you did?
Yeah, so the contractor, Grenice and Sons, was out there moving along with the water main, and we were thinking we'd be able to get under that culvert with it as we planned to. And then when we got into it, the culvert was in such poor condition. When you opened it up, it just collapsed in. So at that point, that's when the emergency certification came about. And then we came up with a quick plan to replace the pipe in kind.
Yep.
So that involved getting the old pipe out of there, but prior to that, obviously blocking off any water flow with sandbags and then ultimately sheet piling, getting the existing pipe out, putting down some stone, getting the new pipe in at the same elevation, and then backfilling, tidying up, riprap. You know, in a nutshell, that's what was done. We did have Grenice was a very good contractor too. They had a neat site and did a good job. It was one of the quickest water main jobs I've seen in a while. But
Nice.
yeah, and so I remember meeting with Heather out there when I think it was when we just finished.
Yeah.
I probably to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at it when it was collapsed, and then I looked at it again after we finished the work, and everything was cleaned up. There was no sediment anywhere to be found, so everything was nice and clean.
Yeah. And the existing pipe too, it was pretty chocked full. And at the time, it wasn't even really very functional. It was hard to inspect when we went to inspect it beforehand because we wanted to get an idea of exactly what was going on. But so ultimately, the one that's there now is going to function a lot better.
On the water main or on the culvert?
The culvert, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Tom Mahana, by the way, from Ty and Bond.
Yeah.
Good evening.
What was your name again?
I'm Tom Mahana, M-A-H-A-N-N-A. Yeah, one of the other things that we wanted to point out on that culvert, the existing culvert, it was absolutely jammed full with sticks and limbs from beavers. It was absolutely packed. There was no flow getting through that. And that's 48-inch culvert. They had a hard time just getting all the debris out of the culvert when we ripped it out. So.
Is that going to be an issue in the future?
It's something we gotta monitor.
Yeah.
Yeah, add it to the list of, I know there's some culverts we have in town. So there's one, Groton Shirley Road, we always have maintenance issues there for sure. But yeah,
Aren't there grates you can put over the culvert to prevent them at least from going inside?
yeah, they do make that, so then the dam would be on the outside.
Yeah.
But we could look at doing something like that.
Yeah, that's what we got over on that road.
Shaker Road.
No, the other.
Rosewood?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over
Going to their solar one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just gated.
Which gets really filled up, but at the
Yeah,
moment,
we've had to
at least
go.
it does something, so it doesn't get inside, because then you're
Inside.
screwed.
Yeah.
You know. Okay, sorry. Cool. Anything else? So the only questions I got, I'm just looking through this. I guess I'm not understanding the timeline, and I'm just wondering if maybe that should get reflected correctly. So just help me through this, and if I'm just silly and not getting it, just tell me. So on December 27th, 2022, completed the replacement of previously existing 48-inch diameter corrugated metal pipe. Blah, blah, blah. Goes
You know
on
what
to
page
say,
that- I'm sorry, Mark. You know what? Oh,
the very first page, section 1.1 of the
Okay.
tie and bond submittal.
Thank you.
Then it goes, during the installation of new water transmission main in November, the culvert collapsed, impeding flow between two bordering vegetated wetlands, blah, blah, blah. Goes on. Then on December 14th, 2022, the Air Conservation Commission issued the emergency order of condition, or emergency certification. So, so you were doing the installation of the main, as you said. So that says November, but then the culvert was replaced at the end of December?
Correct.
Yeah.
Was the main still going on? Because the main says it was... Okay, so
Installed
it collapsed in
underneath.
November?
It was installed underneath the existing culvert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and I just want to make sure the months make sense. So it collapsed in November. You completed the installation of the new culvert December 27th, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So then if I go back on, and then as I'm going through, then the other thing I did want to just ask, it says in kind. I guess when I think in kind, it would be metal, but it's not metal. You put it into plastic.
It's the same size, so it's 48 inch
So
diameter.
in
It's
kind
the same
just
size.
is the size.
Yeah.
Right.
Essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's
Okay.
plastic, corrugated plastic now. It's not metal.
Okay. And again, I have no issue. I just want to make sure the documentation, lays out correctly. But hold on. This was a very long document. I got trying to find the spot again. Come on. Let's spin it. I may have gone too far. If anybody else has any other questions, I can go ahead while I find this.
Jen?
I will say this, I apologize, I forgot to put the DEP number on there, but it does have one, it's DEP number 100-0483. Assuming I have the one for the next one.
Is the next one 484?
No, it's 482.
Oh. Got me.
The gas is 482?
Yeah. Just put the middle one, which was the fastest.
You have any questions, George?
No.
Jess?
No, it's just, are you worried about the delay? What seems like a delay?
No,
Or-
not the delay at all.
Okay.
I was just more concerned when I read through it. It sounded like the installation happened like not in correct timing, like in succession, and so that's what I was confused by.
Yeah.
But I think I understand that first part better now, and so I think we're probably okay then. I thought I had seen another section somewhere else that it indicated the same thing, but okay. No, I think it's the. I think what confused me was just that we're talking. It's the construction finish of this piece whilst this was going on, and it just didn't seem like it made sense. But now as you explain it again, and I read through it again, as opposed to while I was, inhaling my dinner. I think I got it now, and I think I'm okay. So. Thank you for bearing with me. I appreciate it.
Well, one of the things I might be able to add might help understand the sequencing of things. The water main that was installed was HDPE, and it was all fused pipe. So the pipe was already like pre-fused together, and the pipe comes in 40-foot lengths. And so the contractor, because he's pulling these long lengths of pipe through as he excavates the trench.
Mm-hmm.
And so they continued on, they pulled the pipe, underneath the culvert, continued on and made the connection at the other end. So they were able to leave the culvert in place even though it had collapsed, and leave it mostly exposed.
Okay.
Made all the connections, we tested the water main, got the water main back in service, or the new water main in service, and then went back and once we got the approval from Heather and this officer to move forward with the actual work on replacing the culvert.
Okay.
Sure, there was ended up being 2 notices of intent going out at the same time in one project.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. No, I think I'm good. Thank you.
Anything else? Motion to approve the notice of intent for Ayer Department of Public Works, DEP file number 100-0483.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
All right.
Opposed nay. Passes unanimously. That was easy.
Thanks, yeah. Good to see you. It's been a
Thanks,
while.
folks.
It has been a while, man. Yeah.
Coming too, so you'll meet Matt, our town engineer, soon if anyone has it. Heather, you probably have.
I've only
Maybe
seen him
not?
via
No,
Zoom. I've
yeah.
never met him in person.
Okay. All right, thanks again.
Thank you for coming out.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Have a great night.
So what do we do with this? We have to close this or what?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Oh, do we have to sign
I
it?
didn't. I'm sitting there going, like, what is wrong with me? Why didn't I draft that?
So we have to continue.
Well, okay, motion to continue public hearing and notice of intent for
Apologize,
Public
everyone.
Works Spectacle Pond Emergency Culvert Replacement, DEP file number 100-0483 until our next meeting, which is
March 23rd.
March 23rd.
It's right in the bottom of the agenda.
It's written on there?
Yes,
Oh,
it
yeah,
is.
right there. March 23rd.
So moved.
Second.
And that's for the purpose of signing the
Issuing the order of
Issuing and-
conditions.
and issuing. Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. March 23rd. Alrighty. Next item this evening is a public hearing that we will open under the Wetland Protection Act and also under the Air Wetlands Bylaw. Notice of intent, Boston Gas Company, gas line replacement along Littleton Road, right-of-way, DEP file number 100-0482. Good evening.
Everyone,
How are you?
I'm excellent. How are you?
Good, thanks. Good, thank you. Thank you. I think I saw you on Zoom, but I'm not sure I've ever seen you.
You did
met-
back when I was
Yeah.
here back when Joanne was the agent. So
Yeah.
I believe that was back in Zoom. I was trying to find parking and I was like, I don't remember having this issue last time because it was over Zoom.
So you're
That's right.
Carolyn, right?
I am Carolyn, yes.
Yeah, you do look different on the screen. We all do.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to see you all again.
Nice to see you too.
And I believe I can't remember who the, you know, whether it was Massachusetts Electric Company or Boston Gas Company who I was here with last time, but again, I'm Carolyn Gorse with BSC Group here on behalf of the Boston Gas Company. We submitted a notice of intent on February 15th, as you mentioned, the DEP file number. As of 3 p.m. today, there were no technical comments. Our abutter notifications were sent out on the 16th. The banks of the Bennett's Brook and the adjacent bordering vegetated wetlands were delineated by BSC on January 31st. We stayed within the public way. We didn't delineate on any private property, and we tried our best to stay within the public way, only hanging flags. As a bit of background to this project, National Grid, Boston Gas Company, has been systematically going through and reviewing and rating their gas crossings at all bridge crossings throughout Massachusetts, and this particular location was flagged as an area that needed to be replaced. The gas line was built in 1930, and the way it's situated right now, the gas main is exposed underneath the stone bridge. I'm not sure if you guys looked at the photo attachments.
Yeah.
Photo number 3 illustrates that pretty clearly. Yeah, so what they've been doing in cases like this where I believe originally this gas main was installed because there wasn't enough cover between the top of the bridge and the top of the pavement to provide adequate cover for a gas main.
Mm-hmm.
So what they've been doing in this case is horizontal directional drilling, which is to install the gas line below the riverbed, below the foundation of the bridge. It's got a variety of benefits for the gas company. That way, if the bridge ever has to get replaced, the gas utility line is separate from the bridge replacement. So I'll get more into the horizontal directional drilling details in a little bit later, but the subject of the notice of intent that we included was the approximately 440 feet of replacement gas main installation, only about 180 linear feet of which is within bordering land subject to flooding. The other overlapping resource areas, riverfront area, 100-foot buffer zone to inland bank, BVW, and the local 25-foot buffer zone to BVW inland bank, and the 100-foot buffer zone to perennial streams. And all of the work is proposed within the footprint of the right-of-way, the public road. So in addition to the installation of the gas main, you may wonder what they're doing with the existing gas main underneath the bridge. They do plan to remove that. As I mentioned, that's in photo 3. The other sections of the existing gas main that are buried are proposed to be abandoned, left in place. All of these gas mains will be capped, decommissioned, and then where they would like to remove the 7 feet that is exposed, they'll be going in there on foot, in waders, I assume, and then by hand sawing that metal gas main off where it meets the bridge and then capping that.
How do they cap it?
You know, I'm not exactly sure. I imagine they weld something
Okay.
shut. It's a steel pipeline right
Okay.
now.
You don't
I was
need
just curious.
welding while you're standing in
Oh yeah,
water.
maybe they use some kind of a. I don't actually know.
I don't think it really matters. I was
Yeah.
just kind of curious.
But either way, they will be setting up some netting to make sure that no debris while they're, cutting that gas main falls into the river.
Rivet something.
Yeah, they also said they would attach it to a cable, a mini, excavator standing above the bridge so that they can pull it out once it's been detached.
Once it's loose.
Yeah.
They cut it with a torch or they cut it with
Hand saws is what they said.
like a sawzall?
So,
I think they should let the gas go through and cut it with a
Same
torch.
time?
Yeah.
That would clear things.
Well, then you'd have to do a bridge replacement, and I'm sure the bridge is pretty old, so, it might be time.
Jess has alternative motives.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure how old that bridge is. If the gas main was installed in 1930, I can only imagine the bridge came first.
Oh, yeah.
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 Plus, the state's doing some road work out there, so who knows?
Yeah. But back to the subject of the notice of intent, that's exempt maintenance under the Wetlands Protection Act and also your bylaws, Section 4C. Recognize the minor buffer zone exemptions
Mm-hmm.
of that as well. But the HDD process itself, where they're installing the gas main, there is usually an entry pit and an exit pit, which we marked in black boxes on the environmental resources map. The entry pit is to the east and the exit pit is to the west. And it involves a specialized drill rig that creates a tunnel along a predetermined path under the waterways, under the footing of the bridge. It goes horizontal beneath the riverbed and the bridge. And at that point, the top tunnel of the gas main would be about 6 feet below the bottom of the riverbed and from the footings of the bridge. So they will have to stage HDD equipment in both of those work areas. The drill enters the ground at about a 10-degree angle when it goes into the ground. As I mentioned, the top of the pipeline is about 6 feet from the bottom of the river. They primarily operate the equipment from that entry pit. And then the approximately 440-foot gas main will be welded together and then pulled through the borehole from the exit pit and staging area. So the staging area, you might have seen the orange hash-marked area on the east side. That extends into Littleton along the roadway. There won't be any ground disturbing activity where that 440-foot pipe is laid, but they will need some space for the laydown area because it'll all be welded together and then pulled through.
Yep.
So we've also included general guidance for an inadvertent return contingency plan in attachment E. However, we mentioned the contractor will be responsible for creating a site-specific contingency plan prior to construction. And as I mentioned before, this HDD process has become, quite common practice for Boston Gas Company to replace gas mains at these bridges. I've been told that the success rates and the safety are approximately the same as installing a gas main under the road in a trench. We've included BMPs around the entry and exit pits. There will be surrounded by erosion sedimentation controls. If dewatering needs to occur, it will occur outside of all resource areas in a flat upland area, usually through a filter bag and surrounded by erosion controls, or if there's no good spots near the site, they can transport that dewatering fluid off-site and treat it elsewhere. We also listed the conformance with performance standards and of riverfront area, BLSF, in the notice of intent. I'm happy to go through any of that with you if you would like, but at this point I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions, George? I know Mark does, so I'll go. Questions, Jess?
So the 440 feet, is that extended to Littleton?
No.
Or that's all in the air?
That's all in air. That's shown as the yellow dashed line. So it starts in the entry pit and ends in the exit pit.
Okay.
The Littleton line doesn't get to Willow Road.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
It's close.
Right.
There's
I was thinking the same intersection, but it's not. Yeah.
There's a magenta or pink and black dashed line
Yeah.
that crosses the river at the bottom. That's a town line.
Right. Right.
We did notify abutters in Littleton though, as well.
Okay. All right. So you don't need anything from Littleton on this, just this?
No.
Okay. Yeah, it seems. And then the where the new pipe is, then it connects beyond that to the old pipe, the existing pipe.
Yes, it connects where the red line is, the red dashed line in the roadway. That is where it will connect to the
Okay.
yellow dashed line. The red is the existing, and the yellow is the new.
Okay.
Questions, Jen? Heather?
The only question I have, how deep is it going? You said 6 feet under the riverbed, but how deep is the riverbed? Do they?
Not sure what the elevations are based on this. Actually, it does say elevations
Yeah.
because you included. So it's about 800 feet. I assume sea level. So at least 6 feet below that.
That's pretty.
Mark?
How long did they expect the construction to take to do the drilling and all?
They didn't give me an exact date. They hope to start as soon as an order of conditions can be recorded. I've seen larger projects in Medford be estimated at 3 to 5 weeks. This is quite a bit smaller than crossing the Mystic River, so 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
But is that's for the complete?
That's for
start to finish?
once the site is mobilized, once they're mobilized on the site, about 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
And then the process of switching the gas over from one pipeline, so the new one is put in first, and then before they connect everything up, I think there's only an hour or two that gas would be unavailable to customers in that time frame.
Okay. But did they give you an idea of how long it'll take them once they get set up and start the drilling? you know, if they start the machine to do the HDD, how long till they come out the other end?
I don't know that. That's
Okay.
a good question.
Because I'm just wondering how long, with regards to having the bentonite on site,
Yeah.
and holding the spoils, let's say, of that and such. It says that would be stored on site somewhere possibly, or trucked off site. So can we get clarification of what they'll think they're going to need to do? If it's, again, if they can drill it in one day, I'm assuming it gets taken off site quickly.
Oh yeah, no, there wouldn't be any storage of chemicals or hazardous materials on site, even if it did take multiple days.
Okay.
But that is a very good question.
Well, in the front, you say it would be stored on site or hauled away. So
Oh, okay.
it's an either or. So I just want to understand what it is.
Well, the whole site is within buffer zone. So if it was a hazardous chemical, like I'm not sure. I don't think bentonite's a hazardous chemical.
Yeah, but bentonite's not nice.
Right. So
It gets hard and it's extremely difficult to remove and things like that, especially if it spills.
and if it works for you guys, we can definitely put that in the conditions that the materials for the HDD process, even if it takes multiple days, will not be stored on site. That those will be removed from site because the whole site is within riverfront area.
Right. Okay. I lost my screen here,
But
sorry.
you know, I can follow up with an email to Heather to answer that question for you. How long the drilling process is going to take and what that time frame is.
Okay.
Because the last one that we were involved with was quick. It was a matter of a couple of days, wasn't it?
Yeah. You know when they did the one
By
on...
Shaker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When they did the one at the end of Wright Road to connect to Sandy Pond, that was within days too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one by Shaker was like 600 feet, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a long
A
one.
little long.
Yeah, they went into the whole pond too.
Mm-hmm. So, okay.
Right.
Just trying to get a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
On the roads.
I can find that out for you and I'll follow up with Heather.
Okay. Yep. Great. I think that's basically all I've got. Sorry. So yeah, if we could find out about that, that'd be great. Get us an idea how long it'll be and confirmation as to what are they going to do with the
I'll give him a call
slurry
tomorrow.
and stuff. Yep,
Yeah.
appreciate that. Thank you.
We have a site visit scheduled for March 18th, Saturday.
Okay.
Would that work for us to come out and take a look at your project as well?
Let me just check my phone.
Okay.
See what calendar is. I'm not available. Someone else from BSC can definitely fill in my shoes. The 18th should work.
Okay. We're going to be at this other one at 9 in the morning. Should we say, is it 10 o'clock? Seems like a long time.
10 o'clock, but we'll probably be early.
Okay. So 9:30 to 10.
9:30 to 10. That's-
My parents live in Harvard next door, so I can always spend the night there and then be up here in 10 minutes.
It's be like an hour for this. Should be fine.
Hmm?
Yeah, like an hour for this should be fine.
For this one?
Yeah.
You got something that you need to
I
get?
thought maybe I have plans. We'll see.
You might have.
Just want to make sure.
It is the St. Patrick's Day weekend.
That's true.
I think
I will
we'd be
be in
done.
Salem. It's very nice.
All right.
All right. So then the next meeting would be on the 23rd.
23rd.
Okay. I will
Yes.
definitely have to have representation for that meeting, but BSC will be here.
Great.
All right.
Great. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks so
very
much for coming in. It was nice to meet you in person.
Yeah, it's nice to be here.
Yeah.
Like I said, my parents live right down the road, so I'm going to go pay them a visit because it's not their bedtime yet.
Surprise! What are you doing here?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to continue. Motion to continue the public hearing, notice of intent, Boston Gas Company gas line replacement, DEP file number 100-0482 until March 23rd.
So,
Got
Second.
any more questions? Let me know.
All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously.
All right.
We'll see you on the
See you in
23rd.
2 weeks.
Okay,
Thank you.
take care.
And if it seems like it's, the site visit, like it's also going to be just a standard special conditions, maybe that one condition about storage, we could have that prepared.
Yeah, I'll
And
have
get it
everything done for the
signed
meeting
and
the next
done that
meeting.
meeting, too.
Yeah, I apologize, I didn't get the other one done.
No, it's okay.
MAC conference has been the last 2 weeks, and I've been in like 3 to 4 webinars a day.
She said, this is life and death business here.
I just like, I don't know, I'm looking at Jenna and go, what the heck was wrong with me? I take my memory pills.
As soon as that gas main fails. Said as soon as the gas main fails, it'll be.
It might be life and death.
That's right.
Especially if they use that blowtorch. John wants them to use.
It's nice to have
Welding.
work to do here, isn't it?
Standard operating procedures.
Yeah.
It's been so long, I forgot how to make an agenda.
Alrighty, so our next item this evening is a review of quotes for air pond treatment 2023 season.
And it's not hard, we only got the one.
We got the one,
Just the one.
water and wetlands.
Water and wetlands, which I gave, I think, did I put in with your packets? I know I sent everything to you when they did come in. And I do have copies of the quotes if anyone needs to, I don't know if I gave them, did everybody have them? Yes?
I have mine.
I got one.
Okay. Mark, do you need one?
Oh, good.
Sorry. No, it wasn't in the packet, it was something from a different time, and I apologize, but I had them. I'm like, oh, I'll just give everything to you, Jenny, because it's
This
just,
would probably also be a good time to bring up Robert's, at
it's
least this
fine.
one,
So,
Robert's.
yeah, we just got the one. So it should be pretty easy to pick.
For adjusting the number for, so we should come up with a number for an ask this year.
A number for a what now?
Asking for,
For an ask?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know we had that money.
Yeah, I didn't either. Oh, I have it
Going to
discussed for
Hawaii.
budget, yeah.
Site visit.
So, Robert had asked me, we will discuss it after the department update, in my updates, we'll discuss that part of it, but, it's a warrant article.
Yeah. Where's it?
We'll focus on this. So we got all, the,
Yeah.
you know, he sent us all the things, the quote, and it has everything he spoke to us about when Joe did come to us in regards to what we could add on as far as looking at, for the algae bloom mitigation. I added the numbers up real quick to see what we got to, and I started adding the as needed and the as requested tasks, and I got to 30. So I think as a total, if you read this, it's under 40 if we did everything on here. I had no idea how many filters and how many culverts there would be, so I'm like, I think I just guessed like 4, but it isn't. And I pulled old numbers too from the last few years to see, and I like, why was the 2 years ago so high? But I remembered afterwards that Joe said was here that the first time they did the treatments, it had to be higher because they had to use more. So it's actually slowly leveling out and becoming lower because now we're in more or less maintenance mode on some things and
Right.
still mediating some larger areas. So
Yep.
there's that. So it seems to be in line with what it was last year as well. So figuring in inflation, it wasn't far off from what we had paid out last year.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions about those numbers? This is something that came from Robert. It says last year there was a warrant article for $30,000. The said fund is to be used by June 30th, 2024. There's currently, as of February 28th, 2022, a balance of $40,000 remaining in the article. Last year's 30 and a balance from the previous year that must be used by June 30th, 2024. So his question is, how much funding do we actually need for 2023 since we have $40,000,
Yeah.
basically?
But he's saying it has to be used by then.
It used to be
By next
by
June.
next
Yeah.
June. So so Robert sent me an email
This
separately since we were
24.
supposed to have our meeting this afternoon, and I completely forgot. I don't know what's wrong with me. I had picked my son up from school. So I said I added the numbers up real quick, and this one ends up being right around 40 with everything. And knowing we had 40, I replied to him because I couldn't speak for the commission, but in my opinion, to ask for a warrant article 10 to 15,000 gives us that buffer. and allows us to carry over again just in case. And he did ask what I anticipate the numbers being for next year. So we don't know, we won't send the quotes out until next January, February for the following year. But if he wanted me to, I could try to add up some numbers and get an average of, what the inflation may have been, but I can't figure that out off the fly without doing that research. So,
Sure.
But in my opinion, we'd have enough as it stands now, but it doesn't hurt to ask for a little bit to give that extra money in there, just to, again, to carry over for another year. So maybe 1 year we don't even have to ask for anything. If we do it again and get it, it's going to carry for 2 years too. So no matter what, we're going to have that carryover for those 2 years.
Does that entire amount that's in there now expire or have to be used by June 2024, or only a certain?
Yeah, but we'll use it by then anyways.
Okay.
We'll use the majority of it this year.
Just not, because you said some of it was a carryover from the year before and all that,
Yeah,
so I wasn't
yeah.
sure if it expired in batches.
Well, with this quote here being close to 30,
Yeah.
I can't imagine half of that, it's split in half as far as carryover. In addition, I'm assuming it's a minimal amount of carryover from 2 years ago.
Do we have to have the money in hand before we can contract with
Yeah.
them? So next year, if we've spent all the money, we won't have any money in hand
Right.
to sign that contract.
Yeah. That's what I was figuring, to have just a couple in there for buffer, and then it makes it harder to go to town meeting to ask for something when you do it 1 year and then not another year, and then you ask again. People go, well, why weren't you here last year? I think to keep it, if it's going to be kept in a warrant article, but we keep going, so okay, we had carryovers, so we're asking for less. So we have that, what I mean, if there was a question on it, it's always on there, it's always on someone's mind, but we're not
Yep.
asking for astronomical amounts every time.
Makes sense.
And I think we'll be fine this warrant anyway. I think everyone's going to be fine.
I'd be inclined, would you say, like, maybe seeing if we could get away with 20,000?
Okay.
Because then if we have 10,000 left over from this year,
Yeah.
and we have
I was
20,000 new
tr-
funding, then that would cover next year, right? Before town meeting, for signing a contract, we'll be able to cover it.
Say that again?
I was gonna say.
So if we ask for 20,000 this year,
Yeah.
and we use 30,000
Yep.
from the 40,000 we already have,
That
then
gives us
we've got
30,000.
10,000 left plus the new 20,000, which means
We have
a year from now, we can still enter into a contract
Because we have the full amount.
because we
Right.
have the full amount regardless. That's what you were saying, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, assuming that it's not more than that next
Yeah.
year.
Right.
Yeah.
I also would, we all know that there's been some push from some of the townsfolk to look into alternatives. So I
Yeah.
think asking for 20 now would give us maybe a little bit of a buffer too, in case we do decide to pursue some of the alternatives,
Yeah.
rather than the 10 or 15.
Yeah, I was trying to be, there's been a lot of push to try to scrub budgets and stuff, so I was trying to be frugal on that one, but I'm like, I can't speak for the commission. I don't know what they're gonna say, just a 10 to 15, to come back 15 to 20, but that's not too
Well, if
far
they
off.
complain, just say that we wanted like 50 and Utah was 10.
Right.
I want to go back to Jen's question though. So if we do have the carryover, can you read, did Robert say anything about that with regards to, does a portion of that have a this June expiration?
No.
It's all June.
He said for sure.
Well, traditionally, it's always been, we get a thing and then it's usually like a couple years in the distance we have to use it by.
I can verify that with the finance manager, Barbara Tierney, tomorrow, to verify that amount and to make sure what the actual drop dead date is and the amounts and when we have to use it by. Because the way these get billed out, it's so much throughout the season, right? So we're not gonna
Right.
spend it all by June of 2024. We might only spend a portion of whatever the contract is.
Right.
So we have to be mindful of that as well.
Yeah, you got to spend the right dollars.
But if we're spending 30 this year.
If you're spending 30
then
this
we're
year, yeah,
spending-
exactly.
Yeah, well,
then we only have to
And
spend
I
10.
think this past year, because of the algae bloom, it only totaled out to like 22,000. It wasn't the full 36 or whatever that it was supposed to be. So I just worry if we do have another one of those this year, and we do have that 40, and we only do spend the 22, then we have 18 carrying over. I won't be able to spend 18 by June of 2024 if that does happen.
No, we can do
But that's
that.
what we're at. That's
no
where we're at.
problem.
That doesn't count the money that we would get this
Yeah.
year. So that's just the money that's
I mean,
left
just-
over that I had nothing to do with. So.
But as you just said though, I mean, if we don't spend it because we cannot treat
Yeah.
based on an algae bloom,
Yeah.
The
And
money
then-
gets given back. It doesn't,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it
So,
just
I
goes to
mean,
free, back to free
There
cash.
you go, being frugal. So
Yeah, okay. Very good.
better
all
to
right.
ask for it, get it, and then give it back if you end up having a
Yeah,
situation.
I
But-
have different towns and different finance committees.
But I mean, I would just
like
be
frown upon
concerned
those
that,
things.
so if there's 30 from last year, let's say there's 10 from the previous year that has to be spent by this June 30th. I don't know if I forgot the timing, but like May, June is like the first application, right, in the survey and all? So I mean, spending 10 by the end of June 30th could be tough.
Yeah,
No, I
as a
think
so from last year, just to answer that question, because I have the statement that we got
The
in
timing.
November. The first check was sent in, dated July 11th, and that was for 18,000.
Yeah.
So it's
July 11th.
Yeah, July
So you just want
11th.
to confirm that it's-
So I mean, if
So-
it does get to that close, I mean, I don't, knowing how kind Joe is, I'm sure I'd be like, hey, could you bill us
Yeah.
before the end of the fiscal year so I can get that out?
We don't have anything that needs to be used up by this June.
That's the question. I
We don't.
think we know that.
No, because Robert's email says the balance of 40,000 remaining that must be used by June 30th, 2024. So we're good.
But did he not say that there's some from the previous year also?
He
Just because that
He
says it,
said-
it sounds like it might not be
I was just
correct.
like, and then
Includes that, so-
He included last year's 30,000 and a balance from the previous year. And then the together must be used by 2024.
So I almost
Okay.
wonder if the 30,000 from last year can expire later, but ultimately it doesn't matter because we have
Is
till
it-
2024.
and there was any other question
Yeah.
too, the year before, we paid them in June, 17,000. So the delay this year just could have been due to my coming on board
Yeah.
in the middle of June.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
So 20,000 right now?
So ask for 20 grand?
okay.
I say we ask for more.
I'm sorry?
I say we ask for more.
Are you gonna willing to speak to that at town meeting?
Well, no, because I mean, this adds up to, just going through the first page, it's 27,380,
Yep, oh yeah.
and it's $7,000 down here for this stuff,
Mm-hmm,
right? So that puts it to 34.
yeah, it's close to 40 if you count in everything on a,
Right. So let's say we spend almost all 40.
yeah.
We need to ask for at least as much as George said, so we can enter
Oh,
the
we
contract
enter the
next year.
contract, yeah, and make the first payment,
Which
yeah.
was like 18 grand.
Which is
right?
close to 18,000, yeah, the first
No, no, no.
payment in June.
If you sign that contract, you gotta have
The
money
money.
for the whole
Not
thing.
just the whole payment.
No, not just the first payment. You gotta have, you gotta commit for the whole
So we
thing.
have to ask for like 30 or 40.
Right.
But we don't want to ask for 40. I think
No.
going up would not go over well. Because we asked for 30 last year.
Okay, so I would say we at least would have to ask for 30 then.
We should have a little bit left. Even if we do max this out, we'll still
Mhm.
have about like 5 grand. So
Mm-hmm,
And just explain the rationale. Just say,
Yep.
when we total this up, it gets us to 30.
yeah, okay, So
We're
we're
entertaining
saving-
some of the additional
okay,
stuff for the algae bloom,
yep,
which could, eat into the whole thing.
yep,
And if we end up with 0, again, we can't enter into a contract without having the commitment and having the money to
Yes.
spend.
yeah, you're right, we can't do that.
when is town meeting?
April 24th,
April 24th.
just drilled into my head.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about this. You get to blame this all on us. How did
I just say, when it gets close and it comes to presenting it at town meeting, then
Jess will talk, don't worry.
questions come up.
That's what I heard. That's what I
I mean, I
heard.
have to be there, but,
Just say, George said we need all the money.
I mean, I'll make the argument that the contracts, the price proposals continually come in around the $30,000 mark, and we have to have that in-house in order to enter into that contract, and that contract starts.
On the calendar.
Right. We
And
have to have
we
approval
sign
for-
that contract before town meeting of the
Right,
following
we
year.
have to have
so-
approval to spend the money before we commit the town to.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That
liability.
that makes perfect sense. I think it makes a good argument. And like I said again, being at budget meetings, I don't think we're going to be the one that everyone's going to go after anyway.
You've only had a couple people object.
Except for
Yeah,
those
and my hope is to try to have some sort of a minor plan, like rough timeline of plan involved, and try to work on how we can get involved in community outreach to the residents around the pond and what we can do to try to mediate like Joe said about phosphorus and not cutting grass and making I got Dan send me some of his information that he had from the rain gardens they had placed along Oak Ridge Drive and the one they have at Proney Park. He sent me a bunch of stuff. So it's my plan to have something like that, at least an idea of what I want to do, in hopes of town meeting, if those questions do come up, to state that, oh, we're working on it, and I'm doing this, and you'll see stuff soon, and hopefully get that going. So that'll hopefully help that.
Okay.
Because if we can get that going this, this spring, summer, fall, one of, if not all of those, then when it comes to, it at least shows people that we're trying to do other items besides just this.
Right.
So that's the hope.
And you can tell them that we're asking for 30, while, this year already is basically, let's say 27.5.
Yeah.
With just anticipated inflation.
Mm-hmm.
We're hoping we can keep it under 30, plus with regards to the actions you're going to take to try and get education, hopefully we can keep the cost to 30 and not have to continually ramp it up year on year.
And that's all based on residents, right? If I send all that information out and say, hey, it's best if you don't mow your lawn right up to the shoreline, and it helps with I can't make people do that. If they don't, and we have to pay more on chemicals, then that's the outfall of it.
Not yet.
Do you know if who maintains those rain gardens?
I believe that's DPW.
DPW
Those are the
does.
ones that put those in. They
Yeah.
had a little media, so they believe they're the ones that go out and look at those.
I think that's what Dan said. Remember the one thing he wanted to do, like along the sidewalk over at by the dog park or something. He was like that they would, they would maintain, clean them out, make sure that they're not.
Yeah, but he gave me a bunch of good information that they used when they did that. He said they did some outreach as well when they did those, but just driving around the pond so often, because just monitoring the water level, I'm like, there's not an inch, especially on Flanagan, that I don't think isn't someone's lawn, and they go straight to the water. So there's a good chance. No, I'm sure not yours. So there's a good opportunity to, at least if I can get 5 or 6 houses to just take a foot or two back and not mow too long, it might help. Something.
I'm still in favor of, like, maybe in May, trying to at least have a portion of a meeting where we open to the public. But I'm also thinking that it'd be great to also have a discussion at the same time with Dan, the DPW, on some of these things. Like, see if he could attend as well.
Yeah, I will reach out to
great.
him on that, because I spoke to him on Wednesday about some of that stuff too, because a lot of the houses off of, as you know, on the roads off of Wright Road, those are all private roads.
Yep.
So I asked him, those are all private roads, because he asked, darn it. But I guess he said they're looking at doing some sort of rain garden or mediation on Right Way. Is on their plan of doing stuff. So they're doing something on Right Way soon.
Maybe some of those side roads, self-included, could bargain with the town that, you can put in a rain garden here if you pave the road again.
But isn't that us doing two things? Isn't that the town doing 2 things for a private road? Would it be you guys put the rain garden in and then the town paves it? That's how it should be. Anyway.
They're allowing it to crumble, so it becomes less impervious.
It's true.
So
It's working.
what's your problem,
well.
Jess?
It's working well. On the issue of the pond, we also had. You also saw the email exchange with Susan Tordella, and still pushing the eco harvesting, and wanting a town group sponsored by conservation. I still think we ought to push for something like they should revitalize the pond and pond
I
committee.
had a woman come to my office end of last week asking about the pond and dams committee, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And I looked at it, I go, oh, they haven't met since 2016. And that's what her concern was. She was just concerned about people driving their car into the pond because there's no guardrails. And I'm like, has that happened? She's no. I'm like, okay, go talk to DPW and in the police station is public safety. But yes, we've had in some of those emails too, they've been going back, I think with the CPC and Beth Sudemeyer about the pocket forest. We have on the agenda the Friends of Pine Meadow stewardship program trying to get going. There's multiple ones I'd like to do. Can I just get one?
Oh yeah, we want. I know.
Let's get one going and get one set up, and then if I get
harassed.
like 20 volunteers, I can be like, hey, by the way, we're also looking at doing this.
But I think, yes, I agree. But, there is a pond committee that was created by the select board, not us, it does need some initiative from residents interested in this to maybe get that going again. And the Littleton Clean Lakes Committee, which I went to their meeting on Monday night, that's not affiliated with their Conservation Commission.
No, that's
It's a separate.
that's
And then they
separate.
also have lake associations, so.
Yeah, they have lake associations and the Clean Lakes Committee. Actually, when I was working there, it was actually driven by the Littleton Light and Water Department, which is a separate entity from the town.
So that's the meeting I went to Monday, because I was thinking, geez, after I got the email from Susan, I thought, gee, I wonder if they have new minutes up, and I was looking, and this was on their agenda for that night, so I thought, oh, I'll just slip over and watch. But boy, they have a lot of money. I guess Littleton has been considering cleaning up their mill pond for $10 million. So, you know, and we're quibbling about $30,000 for treating 3 ponds.
Where's the mill pond?
I'm not sure on that
When
one.
you're
I have to look
talking
it up.
about, well, the mill pond, I believe, is the waterway that's over by where the lumberyard used to be, the sawmill. Over Warren Road.
The Route 2A?
Yeah,
I've
but.
seen that cleaned up. They got like a bench stuff down
Yeah.
in there or something.
But when you talk about Littleton and how much money they have, a lot of that money comes from the Littleton Light and Water Department. It's a separate entity from the town. It's still considered a town, but it's not associated. They run a different bylaw. So when you see money like that, a lot of that's coming from money that's put on this water sewer, those bills that they're using.
But it's still then coming from taxpayers still in Littleton.
Well, not everybody in
Roundabout.
Littleton's on well wa- or on
On
town
town
water. There's actually a lot of wells
Yeah.
out there.
So,
And there's no sewer, sorry, I should say
Right.
sewer bills, because there is no sewer.
So, and at this meeting, there were 2 or 3 people from the Littleton Water Department, electric, whatever. It was in their building, and so that's why I think if we are talking rain gardens or considering eco-harvesting down the road, if we did go there, be great to be working with Dan.
I could reach out to them and get an idea of what they did, and maybe have someone when the weather turns
Yeah.
nicer, and maybe in the springtime when things start heating up, so they can show me what they did do and how it's looking now.
Well, here's the other difficulty with eco-harvesting. First, they're considering buying their own eco-harvester and maybe then renting it out to other towns or something, but the machinery costs $80,000 at the moment, something like that, so they're looking into that. But I asked about fragmentation, and they said it wasn't that much of a problem, but they won't know until late August. And they were talking, the way they were talking was, you know, they're not doing they can't do a hybrid chemical treatment because that defeats the eco-harvester, because that requires the plants to grow up enough to reach the surface so that the harvester can bale it from the surface.
Okay.
And they were just saying, yeah, we're going to have a lot of unhappy residents. Oh well. Because you're going to be letting it all grow up through swimming season, and so that's something to consider. I'm not sure how well eco-harvesting would work if it would work the same way on our 3 ponds anyways. I mean, they have different needs, but
Well, even then too, with Pine Meadow, could you even get an eco-harvester into that pond?
yeah, and I'm not, so.
I don't think there's access to even get into that one, so the only one you could do is Sandy's, obviously easier to get into, but you'd have to do it access it through the town beach.
Or private properties.
Yeah.
Like I would let people, or some of the right-of-ways would let
Yeah,
for this.
and then, so you'd have to do that, but I don't even think.
I'm not going down yours.
It's
Pine
too
Meadow you
bumpy.
couldn't get it into.
But it might be worse, and I'd be willing to do this at some point, is talk to the guy that Joe Honorato mentioned, who is an expert on eco-harvesting, and just have him look at our particular pond situation and see if it's even, what his opinion of it would be in terms of its usefulness, just so we have answers when residents.
I think going in different directions on it is good.
Yeah.
Then when we do get questions or have anything for town meeting warnings that people question, oh no, we're researching.
So
Yeah.
And we have some answers.
So is Littleton planning to eco-harvest again this coming year, this season?
Yeah, they're about to put out their RFP in the next few weeks. They're sort of running late.
Okay.
And I think they were thinking of putting out an RFP also just to get a quote for chemical treatments on the grounds that Solitude might come out and do a survey of the surface survey that would give them information, so they'd get that as a freebie. Anyway, maybe I shouldn't have said that. I'm not putting that in the minutes. But their plan is they won't do hybrid, because if you use chemicals, then you've defeated the.
Yeah.
But again, the eco-harvesting on just those two sections of Spectacle Pond were 38,000 last year, and we're treating 3 ponds.
So if you can buy a machine for 80, it's almost like a good deal.
It could be, but see, that's a conversation that would be, see how this goes with Littleton. They don't think they'll know the full results for 5 or 6 years.
Right.
But this would be where it'd be good for us to also be talking with Dan Skalquick and the DPW on this too.
Yes.
Bring them into the conversation.
Well, the expectation with the eco-harvesting is that eventually it's totally eliminated. When you say, 4 to 5 years or whatever, my
Or
assumption would be that there should be
under
some sort
control.
of improvement this year, let's assume,
Yeah, and again, they won't really know until
end of the season.
end of season. They thought the one load had a better response than the other load. I can't remember which one. But again, they won't really know until
Right.
August or more, and they expect to have ticked off residents
Is that
around
thing-
some of the beach areas.
Does that thing float?
Yeah, and it has a bladder around it that they can put the material into, so it can a little bit de-water. Their DPW guy was saying, he was suggesting get a whole bunch of poles, net in a little area, and then dump all the stuff in there. And I'm not sure if that was in the water, because that wouldn't exactly de-water, but a collection area so that they could shrink stuff. But yeah, part of the bulk issue with doing it last year was how even though the boat has sort of netting to let water out, it still doesn't let out. Plants hold things for, it takes a while for it to filter out, so it's pretty heavy. Yeah, so I'm not sure what they're planning for Long Pond. I thought I'd go see what they do at their next meeting, but also they had an interesting point that when they do mechanical harvesting, if they did that, which we also learned was pretty costly, that's dragging along the bottom, so their view was they needed an order of conditions for that, but they don't need to go through, I think they referred to the yahoos on their conservation commission, a couple of them. They don't need that for eco-harvesting.
And I still know some of the ones that where I was
There's
working
just
with
a
are still on.
couple. But they said for eco-harvesting, you don't need an order of
Really?
conditions because you're taking it off the surface. I'm not sure exactly how viable that is, but they're bypassing their conscom. So,
Do you know, do those things work for water chestnuts?
I don't think
for
the water's deep enough.
for eco-harvesting, I mean, I think because what Lori said was you really want to get those nuts off the bottom.
I don't think Grove Pond is deep enough.
Oh, is that right?
That's what I would think, because if you have this, it's not a small machine, right? It's a bigger machine.
We don't know exactly.
I would assume in my head, I think
Yeah.
it's one like the hydro rigs that you used to see when I was a kid in Westminster. They took the seaweed out. I call it seaweed. But I just assume if in a kayak you're getting grounded, how are you going to get this machine across the pond to harvest to get the water chestnuts out?
Well, we were getting grounded on the plants themselves. When
Yeah.
people hopped in, they were going in.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm just saying, and then at that point, if you're getting grounded on just plant itself, or ones you're not trying to take out, do you know what I mean? I don't know how that would work. It depends on how big the machine is. I'm thinking it's fairly big. It'd be hard to do that.
They look pretty big.
Yeah.
Research.
I don't think Grove
They
Pond
look
is
pretty big,
would be a
like the size of a
adequate.
car, maybe.
Yeah. And they talked about using silk curtains. And they were also complaining about their muck islands, which we've been having more of as well. I mean, I can see the purpose of exploring this a bit more, because when we do treat with chemicals, I think the treatments have been effective and good, but we are building up, we are accelerating the buildup of the sediment layer. So I think it would be worth it to try to get more information from somebody who knows eco-harvesting in reference to our particular situation.
I put a note on my agenda to check with other conservation commissions to see how they treat their ponds.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when it's New England, right? It's Massachusetts. Almost every town in the Commonwealth has a local pond in it.
Yeah.
There's not many that don't. So they all must deal with it somehow.
Yeah. They said on the fragmentation that the baling moved slowly, so it didn't fragment that much, which is different from what Joe said.
Mm-hmm.
But that was their first year.
Yeah. I said I'd rather talk to a town that's done it multiple
Yep.
times,
Yeah,
multiple years,
exactly.
than one that's just starting.
But
Because then all we're doing is waiting to see what Littleton's doing before we do something, which could be 4 or 5 years down the road.
Yeah, because we couldn't do this within the next few years. And like Heather said to Susan, it's not an option not to treat, because we've made good progress. We don't want to reverse that. And then that would in itself create a different buildup of sediment.
So this year we're on game plan for this, and then as the year progresses, like Jessica said, we're going to look at alternatives.
Hey, and before we run out if we have money left in our office budget, that we could use up before the new year, we should get some of those Secchi discs.
Yes,
What'd you call them?
How do you
pronounce it?
Secchi?
Secchi?
It was Secchi.
The Secchi discs.
How do you spell it again?
Secchi.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
We
we.
use them on Amazon.
Yeah, I have to
Yeah.
order some stuff from Amazon anyway.
Yeah.
I need citrus fertilizer.
Do you have enough the little conservation signs? Are we flush with those or what?
Oh, I have a whole box of those still. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yep, I
we
have
have
a
to
bunch of
vote on
those.
the 20.
We'll need some.
We're moving this forward.
I said we'll need some
Not the
probably
other.
as the year progresses.
Yeah. Oh no, I know we
Just
will
for-
for the subdivisions. Yes.
We do have
Yeah.
to vote.
Like Panther Place, did they
Contract. Yeah.
they haven't bought theirs yet, right? For
No.
all their stuff.
When it comes to
Okay.
arranging that.
Yeah. They also
I
seem
know
to
we
be
do that.
okay with encouraging residents to hand pull along their shorelines. I don't really have a problem with that either on built-up ponds.
Yeah. You ain't got all you want.
Hmm?
You ain't all you want.
Just don't create more beach on your existing lawn.
Exactly.
You take your existing beach and clean it.
There's always a carp.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, it was really interesting. So I'd like to, it was interesting to just go, I'd like to follow what their experiment is with. So I'm happy to go to those when they talk about it.
Thanks for doing that.
Um,
Anything else on this subject while we're...
We do have, Jem put it out.
We have to vote for the quote
Vote. Yeah.
to accept the water model.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be good. You want any more discussion on the quote?
Is there anything optional people are interested in or not quite yet?
I'd like
You
to
wanna
see a
hold off
little
on
bit
that?
more.
What's that?
I don't think at this time, no. Like it's too early.
Choose what?
Too early in the season or whatever.
No, I mean, I thought we had a vote on, are we accepting?
We have to do all the options now too?
Oh, no, we have those if we need it.
That's
And
what
we
I
don't
thought.
have to vote.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Total cost
This is the as needed
plus the
request.
cost of as needed.
Yeah, so we would just be voting on the
Just the total
first
cost is
page and the top of the
27,30.
second page, the
380.
27,380.
27,380.
Yeah.
And then we
Yeah,
maybe
and
say
then
with
we'll
the
and then all the as needed.
option, if needed,
Yeah,
to
we vote on the as
reconsider if we
needed.
need additional.
I think you just vote
Stuff.
on the
I mean, just to note that we might need, if we need
total
additional
amount
stuff.
and then with the asterisk at the
For
as
blue-green
needed.
algae, we would handle that.
Yeah. That would be mine, yeah.
Hey,
Hi,
what's up?
you guys are still here.
Yeah.
We waited for you.
You have.
We're just about to vote. Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Any discussion before we vote?
No.
Motion to approve the contract for water and wetlands for $27,380, possibly adding some additional add-ons as needed
For,
pond treatment for Sandy Pond, Flanagan Pond, Pine Meadow Pond for
if
20.
if
Go
there
ahead.
was another cyanobacteria bloom.
What?
So you
If there was
accept-
another,
So you accepted the quote for those 3 ponds for the 2023 season
Yeah.
for the 27,380
Yeah.
with the as-needed items if an algae bloom does occur.
Okay.
yeah,
Oh, that one. Right.
yeah,
Did you get that?
yeah.
Everybody understand that?
Yes.
So I think
Is there a-
yes, we've
So
written
moved.
enough motions that we just
Second.
just know how to write it.
All in favor, say aye.
I know what
Aye.
to say.
Opposed, nay.
Oh,
Passes union.
wait a minute. Who moved and who seconded?
George.
George moved, you seconded?
Mark.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that doesn't count.
Yeah. It's,
Look at everything.
anyway. Discussion? Did you wish
Well,
to?
$27,000 is a lot of, is it working? You guys have already discussed it, I missed it, I'm sorry.
Well-
But I guess going forward, if you're open to considering other solutions and looking, like Jess, you took a deep dive into what Littleton did, what Harvard did. Harvard, it took a number of years, because they draw down, they pull the weeds.
Yeah.
They had to get a pump house
But we can't draw down further in air.
because of the dam.
Physically, it's
Correct.
impossible.
But I think that's why they had the pump house.
So they pump it down.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
yeah,
yeah.
Well, these are all things that are
yeah.
worth considering. Absolutely.
And let's see what happens in
Okay.
Littleton with the weeds.
Yep.
So maybe, if we start working on it now for next year, and also
Yeah.
the education.
Yeah,
people,
that's the plan to do, yeah.
and people put the lawn treatment on their lawns, and then it goes into the pond, and then the weeds grow, right?
Well, not even that, they mow straight down to the water line.
Yeah, that's the educational part of this.
That's the educational part that we gotta work on.
Well, I think those are good goals then. I
Yep.
mean, we had to start somewhere, so this is.
And I
good. Thank
appreciate you bringing it to the attention. Unfortunately, me being new, I wouldn't know any of this stuff would be an issue until someone brought it to my attention. I appreciate it, and it's something
Yeah.
I'll do my best to
Yeah.
research and reach out to people
Well-
and get some, hopefully, like I said, if I can get 5 people to not mow their lawn all the way to the edge of the pond, at least I feel like I did something.
For sure.
It's that bad to mow it all the way to
Yes.
the edge? I had no idea.
Yeah, you wanna keep it longer. The more grass there is, so the water will get held up and will catch more before
Okay.
it gets to the water. So if you have one, yeah.
And how are the rain gardens working? Because there are some, the town has put in some rain gardens.
There has, and I've been speaking with Dan Fanchowick, the director of DPW, about that, and
Yeah.
we're gonna look into work, I'm gonna be working with him
One
on
of the
what we can
guys
do.
complained, the guy who has all the forsythia at the curb of the road, he has a huge rain garden. I talked to him, he was complaining about his rain garden
Where are we talking about?
on Calvin.
Those are forsythia.
Go down Oak Ridge. Okay, there's one that has the sign. Did you guys get that sign put up?
That was DPW that did that.
Yeah. So people read that sign. I talked to her.
That's why I reached out to him to work on doing it for outreach, because he has all that materials that
Right.
they use to do
Maybe we
those.
get the Girl Scouts involved. They seem to care about the ponds. They did some over at Grove Pond. But if you keep going down Calvin toward town, the road makes a turn, and if you look, and when spring comes, it has a whole bunch of forsythia. No one knows his address. They spent quite a bit of time, the DPW, digging it out, and he was still complaining about it. He got all this free work, and he was complaining about, he said it didn't work. So I don't know if it's true or not. We'll have to check with Dan.
Yeah.
And I see Dan because I'm on the cemetery commission.
Okay.
But I have something else. Speaking of cemetery commission, I'm working on getting green burials, which means you're buried in a shroud 3 feet down. So I don't know if you all have to be involved in that.
Only if it's.
Oh.
in
It was
nature.
within 100 foot of a buffer, of wetland.
Yeah.
Is
no.
it?
I don't think you'd
No.
legally be allowed to plant someone that close to a water source.
No, you would not.
That seems.
No, you would, I don't think you'd
inappropriate.
even be allowed to have a cemetery.
So you're
that
saying our
close.
cemetery is safe already?
No, that's not at all what I said. I would be surprised if you were allowed to bury people in the ground that close to the wetlands.
Yeah.
For
Or
us
water
to be
table,
involved, for us
yeah.
to have to be.
Right,
have our
but I just
say.
want you to know what's happening. We'll probably, I don't know if the other 2 members of the commission are going to go for it, so we're looking at it. Because It's the way people used to be buried, and it's a lot better for the earth
Yeah.
than putting all the chemicals in, the cement, the wood, everything. So maybe you'll get buried in air in a shroud. I don't know. And go
I'm
back
getting
to
cremated.
So you know, cremation takes a
Yeah.
lot of energy.
It does.
Yeah.
And then it spews all your cavities into the air and all your PFAS from drinking air
That's
water
true.
into the
I
air.
want to be in a tree
But there's
pod.
no change being made on that.
Okay, then the other option is alien invasion, and they take us away as their food. And we're good.
We're good.
We did talk about, maybe like in May, trying to do some public informational meetings and have Dan Van Scalquick here too.
Okay.
I know the Clean Lakes, Littleton Clean Lakes, they have their DPW or Littleton Light
Water.
Electric and
Yeah.
Light and Water
Right.
involved. So discussions of rain gardens or potential for eco-harvesting, we should have Dan involved with those conversations.
20 years ago, Sabastanos at Littleton Electric Light and Water, right? Talk very, very fast. You don't have to That's how you work for him.
I did.
He had a big campaign to educate people in those neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it worked?
Well, the town of Littleton as a whole, because they have, is it 6 or 7 great ponds? They have a lot. It's the entire town, just one giant pond. They had lakes. Every lake had its own commission. So everyone who lived on those lakes basically was their own association, which that makes a big difference. And then those people on those associations would be a member or two on the Clean Lakes Committee. So each lake was represented. And I only know this because I know one of the residents in town who's a plumber that I still see every now
Maybe
and
we
then.
should do that here. Maybe we need a Sandy Pond, a Flanagans, Fletchigans. Spell it right, though.
But I will say
did.
the Clean Lake, the Clean Lake, Littleton Clean Lake Committee is not affiliated with their Conservation Commission. It's independent. So that's a little of our issue is time and energy and resources of us. 'Cause
But you know how the chemicals got started? Somebody on Flanagan's Pond, I think it was a former select board meeting, he brought it to the town meeting.
oh yeah, it was what was
That was a
this?
while ago. It was 10 or 15 years ago.
Oh,
man.
Chuck,
Chuck
Yes, Chuck,
Miller?
yeah.
Miller. Chuck Miller.
Does he still live there?
He does.
I think I met his wife
Yeah.
talking about it.
But he started it because Flanagan got in such bad shape. It was so overgrown. And if a pond gets so overgrown, then it starts to choke out life as well. And gets.
It was bad last summer, though.
Flanagan's?
Yeah, there was no water at the other end.
We're in an
That's pretty
extreme
good.
drought.
It was
That
pretty
was the
good.
drought.
As far as
As
weeds
far
goes,
as weeds, it was better?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess.
But we also thought I might look into this, is talking to this guy that Joe Honorato, Water and Wetlands, told us is out in central Mass. He's big on eco-harvesting. We have him look at the usage of that on our 3 ponds. But it wouldn't be for right away, because it needs to be carefully thought out. Among other things, the Clean Lake Committee was saying that, they won't see the results of the eco-harvester on Spectacle Pond really evaluate it until, they won't be able to see that until August or September. Because they have to wait for the plants to grow up to the surface. And it's going to be several years before they think they might get things in control. But in the interim, they said there are going to be a lot of angry residents because of all the seaweed. I think they have swimming events there.
Well,
on
Speckle
their
Pond,
beaches.
so which pond is it?
Spec Pond did
So
it.
Speck Pond, when I worked in Littleton, there were several residents down on Cricket Lane that's actually their summer home, and they don't even, one resident didn't even live in this country full time. They were from Japan and they summered in Littleton out there. So I would be pretty upset too if I came to my summer house and I couldn't go swimming because.
Yeah, one of the women on the committee
From
was.
Japan.
Yeah. So it's got to be. We've got to balance out a
Well, it's
lot of
beautiful
things,
houses
and
on
in
the
addition,
town,
money,
right.
because they are voted and we are not.
Littleton?
Yes.
Yeah. They're.
The Clean Lakes Commission is is partially funded, I believe, by their water and electric department, which
Okay.
is a separate entity from the town.
If our fire department, are we on TV?
Yes. But the Littleton Electric and Water Department is a separate entity from the town, which is part of the Clean Lakes Commission, which I believe is where they get some of their money from. It is not a town company. It's
Yeah.
like going to the Air Housing Authority. If you can borrow money from the Air Housing Authority, please go ahead. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they have.
There, we have good resources because we
do.
have an industrial base.
We do. We have a good
We have
base in the town.
a lot of
We're at
money.
a great position. And going forward, if it's something that we need to pursue to go to town meeting for in another year or two, I don't think that'll be an issue to put that on the warrant. But as for this year,
Yeah.
we'll be with this and we'll do our research.
Harvard, it was like a 20-year plan, and they had to go through the state. They had to count all their frogs. I don't know if they count all the bugs, but they counted frogs. It was a really big deal. So, you know, if we're serious about using less chemicals, I guess it just is going to take step by step then.
Yeah.
Yep, this is the first step to
And
start
it
looking at it.
should it be the conscom or should it be somebody else?
Well,
We need a committee, maybe a
yeah.
subcommittee.
I mean, I go back to, you know, maybe going back to the select board and getting, or
Back to where?
the select board and getting a new charter for that pond committee. You
Yeah,
said
the
somebody came
The
in.
pond, yeah, the pond and dams
They should
committee.
take out dam though. It
Well,
shouldn't have dam involved.
We've never had a single meeting.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, no,
And-
when I looked at it, it hasn't been an agenda since 2016, I think it
Yeah.
was. And there's people listed as members and all of them
I'm
are
on
active.
it. I'm on it.
They're all active?
I mean, Chief Bedrosian is one of the members on there, and his doesn't expire till 2024, 2025.
Yeah.
Because I looked at it, I go,
Well,
huh. I'm like, how is, there's unlimited ones, and there's ones that are active, and I'm like, but they haven't met. I'm like, I'm
we've
so
never had-
confused.
Well,
I'm so
Dan
confused.
suggested we combine the pond with the conservation, no, not conservation.
Sustainability.
Sustainability, yeah, and that's a whole thing. And right now, I think the town manager's office is busy with getting the budget and stuff
But do you think
done.
that's a good idea, to combine it with sustainability? Just have a pond committee, this is important.
I think they're two separate entities when you're looking at that. What you're
Yeah.
talking about for ponds and what Dan's talking about for ponds and sustainability are two different items. Your agendas, I think, are going to be two different things.
But that's what I think if like we're talking about pond health with Dan and public at a meeting, say in May.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
That's something we
That's
could, we can
work,
see what
yeah,
would
we
be
can
the
work,
best
do working group on
structure.
all that stuff.
Yeah, what would be the best, yeah.
Because
there's
what
also-
Dan's going to be
Get
looking at
Dan's
is
input directly.
stormwater and everything else
Yeah.
going into it to make sure
Yeah.
MS4 permits, and DEP just
Yeah.
opened up public hearings, I think, soon for a new stormwater
There's also
management of the DEP. So, and then what residents are going to be concerned with is treatments of it in this. It's similar, but they're different items. What everyone's going to be
There's
looking
also
at.
Facebook. People read, since we don't have a paper anymore, and there's the APAC. And putting notices in. You can also put notices in Action Unlimited for free. So I guess it's
Yes,
just
I
a matter of
did
time.
find that out.
I can help you with that.
I did find that out from Alicia last week.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's a
it's
good
super
thing.
easy. You just
And
sit
then
there.
I have another thing too, when we do start to do these things and look at things, and I know we used to do this in Littleton with the water and sewer bills, putting little notes
Right.
in those.
Right.
So I'd have to get a hold of Dan for those too, if we were allowed
Yeah.
to do that.
And the water bills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then everyone gets them.
Yep.
No, owners,
Owners get
not renters.
Unfortunately, as far as the conservation concerned, if I ever had a violation, I have to go after the owner, I don't go after the renter.
Right.
So,
And the renter is not the one who usually takes care of the lawn anyway.
So, it doesn't,
I don't know how many renters we have in the pond. You guys probably have to end your meeting.
Well, we need to move on.
yep.
You have still more on the agenda.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for listening and kind of turning the battleship.
Yep.
It takes a while.
If you don't start,
Yeah.
nothing happens. And you got the old timers like George. All right. Thanks. Heather, we'll be in touch because you know it used to be the editor of the Littleton Independent, I think, right? And help you get the word out. Maybe
Okay.
make a brochure.
Yeah, I'm going to be working on that.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Take care.
Okay, our next item this evening is a discussion, Friends of Pine Meadows Stewardship Program.
Yes, I drafted a little thing. I don't want to turn the monitor pad on this late in the meeting, but so I worked with Cindy a little bit to get a flyer up, and I could email it to you guys so you can see it. And it's strictly just for the Pine Meadow area. Just a one-page document with. She had sent some pictures. I had taken some, so it includes 2 pictures of actual Pine Meadow with the trailhead. I found that logo, the orange and green. I thought about changing the colors for the ones. I'll send you the ones that I drafted. But to just send, I don't know how we're gonna probably put on the Facebook page. they do an emailing blast list that the town does, which I'm sure some of you received those. We can put it through that. It's just any items, I mean, I listed on there for people, you know, if you're interested in like the outdoors, you can go to Pine Meadow. The commission's looking for members to join the land stewardship program to help do minor maintenance to the trails and maybe possible guided tour, you know, hikes and other items and trailhead work.
Is it the commission that's looking for people to do this, or is
Yeah.
or is it
There'd be the
town?
commission. So when we do it, when you do like a land stewardship, that's spearheaded from the commission.
Okay.
It's not the town. So this would be something that we would oversee.
But we're looking for people to then.
We're looking for people
run it
to do this. So we, you
Yeah.
know, they would just. I don't know how many people you're looking to do. I don't know how many we're going to get. If there's any specific items you want to look at, so I can send you the draft flyers that I had made up. That include some of the pictures that me and Sydney both took on there. But I don't know if there's anything specifically you guys are looking for when we're doing
So
this.
you have a draft, so you can send it to us.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I turn them on to pad, trying to get it going. This.
Yeah, we're looking
And,
for bodies.
Yeah, Andrew, who,
Was at the last meeting.
Andrew Seeley, who was at that
Yeah.
meeting, he,
Oh,
I had
he's on
mentioned.
the FinCom committee, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Okay.
and he
Like,
had
I know that
I had
name.
mentioned that we were thinking Friends of Pine Meadow.
Yeah,
and
that's.
He texted me, said, I'm thinking about the Greenway Friends of Conservation. So it might allow the committee to have some leeway in their own self-naming, but we're
Yeah.
getting there.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. I was just thinking of the name because
Oh, yeah.
I think we're looking at more or less to focus on that. If
Yeah.
we are going to do a larger program going forward to create other ones, then
Yeah.
that's a different story. For right now,
Yeah.
let's get one. Let's see who I can get to do one,
Yes.
and then we can move from there.
Yeah, I had mentioned this at CPC and I'd sent Heather and Janet Prabodakis and Beth Sudemeyer were like, oh, and we could get this committee also involved with the Pocket Forest Project. And Janet was saying something else and it's like, well, our first task is just to get volunteers for this one area.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
that's gonna
and
be
then
hard enough.
it may come to a thing where I get people who are like, well, I could do that. I'm interested in doing that. But I can't do that one area. Is there anything else in town? I'm interested in doing something. I think it's just
Yeah.
once the blast goes out, I might get people saying, well, I don't want to do that, but do you have anything else we could do? And then that'll be like, oh, awesome. I have a full list of things. What would you like to do? What do you want to do?
Yeah, and when we get the flyer, we also need to send it to the Scout, but the Boy and Girl Scout groups too.
Yes. Yeah, which I
that
did
would be-
when we had the Pocket Forest in the lovely snowstorm last Saturday. We had our planting organization meeting or whatever at St. Andrews, and I met the scout master for the area, so I have his business card, so I could definitely send it to him too.
Yeah.
I told him, if you have any Eagle Scouts that have projects, I can have some if you ever. I mean, I can sure find some for you. So,
Cool. Okay.
but I'll send those out. You guys can weigh in on those, and if there's any changes, and I'll make sure I run them through Robert and Carly's office as well before I send it out, just to make sure I don't need to add anything on it for insurance reasons. I don't think so. I think it would be until I don't know if we want to invite them all to a meet. Like, that's the other things too. Like, are we gonna have other people going to come in? Am I just going to get an email or call from them and say, okay, well, I'll take your information, and when we decide to schedule a meeting, we'll invite you. Like, that's the other thing too. What are we
Yeah.
going to do when I send this out and everyone starts calling or emailing
Yeah.
me?
Well, we want to have basically we'd set a particular one of our meetings to see everybody who could come, and then start to help them set up a hierarchy structure for organizing. They have to let them start taking over
Okay.
some, but that would seem that would be the start.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe for that meeting, when we do it, we could invite Steve Smith,
Yeah.
who did the old Greenway Committee, because you'd suggested him before. Maybe he could have pointers.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
How vibrant was that old one?
You'd have to ask
How
one of its
vibrant
members.
was the old one?
It wasn't terribly vibrant. I think at meetings we had maybe 10 or 12 people at the most.
Yeah.
That's
And
pretty good
then
though.
doing trail building, maintenance, we might have had a few more.
Oh, well, that's a pretty good group though, really.
Yeah,
That
10 to
was
12 is
starting
actually
out.
pretty good.
That was starting out, and then it petered out.
Pete-
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Once they started getting ticks and
There's a new tick in Massachusetts, the Asian longhorn tick.
No.
Yes, it was something the other day. I saw
Make you
it.
allergic
Oh, I
to
don't-
Asian food,
don't
like
tell me.
makes you allergic to red meat.
Is that the one?
Must have mutated because all the pond chemicals.
I would love that.
So does Asian longhorn
Tick.
beetle mixed with a tick, and that's how we got this thing?
Crossbreeding.
Crossbreeding.
It's a brand new species.
Now
It's
we're
gonna
gonna,
be protected,
then we're gonna
so
get a
don't worry about killing it.
an Asian longhorn tick,
The Asian,
spotted lanternfly next.
the Asian longhorn tick, according to the CDC, as of last August 2022, the tick was spotted in several states, including Massachusetts, but also Connecticut, New Jersey, New York. And
Also
it's
southern, so
listed
we're good.
as a new deadly insect, is in Massachusetts and can cause serious illness. Doesn't carry Lyme, but I guess it carries others.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Jess. That was.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
There's just
Thanks
one
for-
more reason why I should have
Pass that
hazard pay.
around.
I'm gonna feel things crawling on me trying to sleep.
Oh, that doesn't even look like his lawn. Okay.
It's just like really long.
that how big it
Oh,
is?
its legs, yeah.
Well, not life size, but, I mean,
It's
that's not
grown
how
up.
big it is, but that's what it looks like.
Put a leash on it.
The long legs,
So,
yeah.
it's apparently new. So I saw a news article the other day, and it's like, oh.
Fun stuff. All right, so I will send those out. Actually, I'll do those first thing tomorrow morning so you guys can look at them so I can get them edited and out as soon as possible.
All right. We have any conservation office updates?
Oh my goodness, do we have updates? Yeah. So, what we got? So, starting with Air Solar 2, just so you know the status of the conservation restriction, our council had reviewed it. Their council had reviewed all the comments. There's been no further ones, so it's, or whatever changes there were. So I got sent back to the state to ensure everything's fine. So that's where it is at this moment. It's still with the state for final review. Rohit called me Monday or Tuesday to verify what it was I needed for plans for his amended notice of intent. So I told him it's basically everything you submitted for your first one. I need for this one only with what you've built and or planning to do on site. And I did request, said, well, it might save you some time if one or two of those plan sheets showed an overlay of approved and existing.
That'd be good.
So I think that's just easier, right? Like
Yeah.
that would, to me, would be easier to look at. So I did get that. I don't know when we are supposed to be receiving that from him, but I did hear from him, and that was the first time. So that was amazing. The site continues to, the last 2 Wednesdays I had gone out, it's been stable. There is still water on site, but nothing's erosion, no sediment back up. All the hay bales have been replaced as of the last probably 2 to 3 or 4 weeks, so, or most of them. So it's looking okay now.
Good.
We'll see what it looks like next week. Like I said previously, the Pocket Forest, we had our planning meeting last Saturday at St. Andrews. We are planning a foraging day at the high school on the 24th of this month.
Foraging?
Foraging day. So you get to go out in the woods and pick up sticks, leaves, to try to pick up microorganisms and stuff that we will transport to build up a soil base at the Pocket Forest location on East Main Street.
Yeah.
So everyone want to go look and pick up sticks and acorns and microbes and stuff, do that. I'm gonna drag my kids to that one because that sounds that one sounds like fun. And then the planting day actually for that actual Pocket Forest is scheduled for April 29th. It is a Saturday. I believe they're going to be trying to do sign-ups for that. I'm not 100% sure if the Pocket Forest website that we have is on our website anywhere, but I will make sure I'll get a hold of Cindy and try to find it and link it at least to the conservation page. It's a wonderful project if no one's looked into it.
And this location, is it by St. Andrews?
The locations, it's just going over the railroad bridge at the intersections of East Main Street and Main Street. There's that little depression at the bottom of a hill by the bridge, and that's the location of the pilot forest.
Nice.
So there's those dates just for you guys to have. I've been working with Beth Sudermeyer. She's added me to the discussions, and I just got an email from her this afternoon. the Devon's Enterprise, that whole group is gonna be doing their Earth Day event again this year, where they close McPherson Road. That'll be on Friday, April 21st again. So just get that in everybody's ear, and we'll be working with her on that to try
April
to.
21st?
April 21st, so it's right around Earth Day. So we're working on that. If anybody has any ideas of what we can do for that for that.
We could actually, that might be, and I'd be happy to work on this. We could prepare a flyer for, good behavior around ponds.
Oh yeah, so I told her,
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned to
Yeah.
Beth that I wouldn't mind trying to figure out how to set up a table for that, just for different conservation items. So anything you want to throw at me, we can try to get together for that date. I'd be more than happy to do, because I think getting the commission there to be like, hey, this is what you, and people ask, what do you do? Like, oh, well, what do you want to do? Like, we have things you can do, you want to learn about this, so anything you want to
Information on toxic
information, I could
algae
print out,
blooms,
I don't know if I
we'd
could
be
print a bunch
motivated.
of flyers or informational
Yeah.
sheets to hand out. Just let me know, so I
Yeah.
can throw that at you guys.
Do you have times for that? You said that was Friday
It's
the 21st?
it's the 21st, and if I check my email, I don't know. It's the same. It's a Friday, so it's after school, and I can't remember if it was like 4 to 6. So it's not. Are they going to do it later? If it's going to be 5 to 7, it's something around that.
No, I mean, if you can.
I don't. Yeah, I'll double check the time, but they will be doing the flyers like they had last year, the little cute ones with the fox and raccoon like skateboarding and stuff. Yeah, they'll do that similar and have that sent out and posted, I'm sure, on the town's website, and share that. We didn't have the last meeting, but I finished up on the regulations, doing some plan requirements. I would like to try to schedule when we can do that public hearing on those, if anyone wants to review those, edit them so I can get that public hearing going. We've already talked budget stuff.
You
in
sent
regards
that to us?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I did
okay.
before the last meeting. I will send it out again. Like I said, I think today was the last day, and I did one last meeting. So the MACC is having their annual conference, which was over the last 2 weeks, just different webinars. So I attended quite a few actually, and one of them was on climate resiliency and planning through your bylaw and regulations.
Mhm.
And so looking at those, so going to fall town meeting, so we have plenty of time. I want to look at redoing the bylaws to try to ump up the definitions, to add some more items to maybe more climate resiliency as far as FEMA floodplain, adding more items to the vernal pool to make it more of we have a bigger jurisdictional area around that vernal pool, and a bunch of other items. One of the consultants that I think the town Clinton and Bolton, I think it was, that did this presentation. They had done a whole consultant. They hired a consultant from BSC Group, which is actually the same consultant we're using for the Pocket Forest, Jillian. And so I have the website for them that they've used. And if any of you want to see it, I'll share it with you. And they actually had a lawyer who's actually on the Conservation Commission in Arlington review all the proposed regulations and bylaw changes that they've drafted for towns to use. So they're all perfectly legal. So they have a whole 15 to 20 different suggestions for bylaws and regulations to add into yours that have all been reviewed by council. So I'm going to go through and look at those and see what we can add in. So we'll do the first draft of regulations this spring, and then we'll look at updating the bylaw and the regulations again in the fall to match all that, to try to add some climate resiliency items in there. And then I'm going to try my best to see if I can find something that will work for tree cutting as well.
Great.
Okay.
I know what we could say on tree cutting. No.
Well, I did find one recently that said over a certain height you have to do 2 to 1, under a certain one after you remove 5 you have to replace the 1. I go, okay, well that sounds a little more reasonable. So I'm going to start researching, see what I can find for those. And then one last item is the Devon's Symposium tomorrow and Saturday, as far as the conservation stands on that. If anyone wants to try to jump in on those, I can do a little bit in the morning tomorrow if the commission allows to be out of the office to attend that. Quite a bit of McPherson Road is what our riverfront is for Nashua River. That's it, and that's all Devon's. So
I was
looking
planning
at-
on doing that.
Yeah, so, yeah, good. So looking ahead to when that happens, it'd be beneficial to the town if we could take that back and, in my mind, close the road off. But I had to see what the rest of the town wants to do on that because the road already floods now, and with climate change, the amount of times it's underwater will just increase.
And it has the salamanders.
The salamanders, they close it for the crossing for the vernal pools, for the migrations of those. So it would create a nice brook canoe launch because we'd have that. Right now we're stuck, and it's all oxbow as it is now too. So it's a real, conservation interest on that part of the road. So that's tomorrow and Saturday. Tomorrow starts, I believe, at 10 till 11:30, and then that's the bus tour of the area till 2, and then back here for, I think, small working group 2 to 4, and then
2:30 to 3:30.
Yes.
Alan Minoyan drafted me. He called me the other day.
Yeah.
And I just got back to him yesterday. So he wants me to sit on the one about the airfield and Pearson Road. I don't know what it's
and
gonna
then
do,
there's
but
and then there's the again
I'll
on
be
Saturday,
if
which
you
is a
want.
lot of more small working groups on that on Saturday,
Yeah.
and unfortunately Fridays I can't do after 2. Saturdays sometimes can be tough. So
There's a brunch tomorrow.
there is. I'm going.
That's what I heard. That's where I'm going.
There'll be free food tomorrow, so in the morning if you go. And then 2, I believe, on Saturday there will be pastries or something from somewhere too. So there'll be food.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what people say because
Yep.
when you do talk to certain people in town, you get completely different things, and it is a sensitive area because when you take it back, that means we are getting Shipley Hill back, which
it's not so good.
is not so good. So it's a matter
Shipley Hill.
of Shipley Hill is the super
Fund.
site. Yeah,
Landfill.
yeah.
Super fun.
EPA Superfund. Toxic, really toxic.
Really
site.
toxic site,
Stuff,
yeah.
huh?
So you gotta look at things like that, and then obviously too the main source of PFAS that we first found was from the airfield. So like, what would we get? But I'm like, I just want McPherson Road. So I don't think it's a take some and not take the whole. So
Can't cherry pick.
yeah, so
Was
it's
Shipley a super fund before we gave it to them? Or did
no,
they make it a Superfund site?
no.
Well, it was part of Fort Devens.
Yeah, Devens did that.
And then Devens was decommissioned in 97 or 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So there's the question of whether Harvard takes back its land, Shirley takes back its land, and we take back ours.
Mhm.
And the Shepley landfill happens to be where ours came from. So,
Right, but I guess what I'm asking is when they took it, was it already contaminated?
oh
No,
Okay.
none of this was contaminated when they
Yeah.
took it.
Okay.
this is all, Fort Devens.
Mm-hmm.
How does that not stay with that responsibility? Is that the
And,
deal? Like, if
that's
you
all
wanted to
part of the
take all issues?
conversation that we
Yeah.
need to have.
Okay.
Yeah. And the towns, there've been multiple votes where, like, the 3 towns have to all take a vote at their town meetings
Super
on
town
the
meeting.
disposition of Devens
Yep.
at the same time.
Yeah, super town meeting
Yeah,
is what it's
super
called.
town
Super town
meeting.
meeting is when they all 3 towns. So especially
And they have to
when we've
agree.
done ones for the Vicksburg Square.
Yeah.
It was the 2 towns because I was living in Shirley.
Yeah.
One of those.
And they all have to agree.
No, the 3 towns. Yeah.
It has to be unanimous
Yeah,
agreement.
all 3 have to agree.
That'll
Yeah.
never happen.
Well, it hasn't yet.
No.
The same stuff.
But, is it 2033 that
Mm-hmm. 2033 is when we
is
take it back.
when Devon's Enterprise Commission goes away anyways?
Yep.
So we'll get it. So this is planning ahead.
This is planning ahead and what we want to do, if we want to take it. And I think this is just the start because the other part of it too is to hear what the other towns are going to do, right? We don't want to if Harvard's obviously going to take theirs, Shirley doesn't want to take theirs, and we say, okay, well, why don't we just not? Then we do have to do another super town meeting for Vicksburg Square. We're not worried about Harvard voting no because we always know Shirley and Ayer always voted yes because they're the ones that voted no. That's makes those things easier too. So it's a start of a conversation to see where we're at and then see where other towns are at and get an idea because things like that do take, as odd as it sounds to be planning for something 10 years down the road, it takes a long time to plan for that stuff because you have to figure out where they're going to school, where they're going to do, who's the taxes going to,
But some say, well, it's gonna go fast. It's gonna be upon us soon. And then I'm like, I'll be 80.
And I didn't
wouldn't
even
be
realize
here.
this until Alan showed it. He'll show it tomorrow. Devon's is actually in 2 different counties. Because Harvard
Yeah.
is in Worcester County and we're in Middlesex County, and there are some houses on Devon's that are technically in both.
It's a mess.
So that's why I'm saying it's not going to be a fun,
Just
easy
go-
thing.
Can we just dozer over the
Yeah.
Shipley? Harvard?
There you go, we're all in.
We're all in.
Harvard doesn't mind getting its land back because its land isn't polluted like the airfield area and Shepherd's landfill.
Yeah.
It's convenient.
But,
It's a shame Lancaster's
but the
their land
people
back,
who
that's
live
still
on
active.
Devon's want it to be resolved one way or another so they just know where they are.
Yep.
They're their own
Who they
township.
vote for, where they
Yeah.
vote, where their kids go to school. Because so that was that one house. That you showed it. There's one house that's split. Half the house is in Harvard, half the house is in Ayer. If it's not Devon's, and I guess the kids go to school and they all vote and do everything in Harvard. But
Depends on
like,
where their bedroom is.
yeah, it's weird. So it's a whole thing. So that's where a lot of the plan is going to come into too. When you have the lots like the landline like that.
Who allows them to build that, knowing that this is eventually going to be a challenge?
The federal government and just the U.S. Army.
When we're engaged in world wars.
Yeah, that was World War II when that started, when Devon's was created. So
Oh, World War One.
was it World War One?
Yeah.
One,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying about the houses that were just built.
They were
Knowing that,
barracks.
as you just said,
Yeah.
10 years down the road.
Yeah, that
You
house
know,
has
it's
been
gonna
there
be
since
the-
probably the 1950s.
Yeah, a lot of the officers'
down.
quarters got converted into
Bulldoze
housing.
that too.
Doze it. Issue solved. Doesn't exist.
As long as my kids can keep sledding there, I don't care.
Yeah.
It's good sledding.
It's a great
Hey,
stuff.
one question.
Mm-hmm.
We had talked at one point about trying to meet with North County Land Trust.
I have been I've been emailing back and forth every now and then with Joanne in regards to the information she's looking for some of the CRs. She doesn't want to meet until that work is done. So she was having a hard time getting a hold of Oxbow, so then I've been emailing back and forth with Oxbow. And last time I emailed Scott from Oxbow, he was like, oh, that doesn't seem so hard. I should be able to do that. And I haven't heard since, so I'll email him tomorrow to see where he is with the information that we were looking at, so I can get that meeting. But that's what I was told when I asked for the meeting, was they didn't want to until they had work done. I was like, okay, well, why isn't it done? And then, yeah, apparently there was issues, but I'll see what I can do.
Appreciate
Yeah, it's
that.
fun. Yeah. That's all I do is just send emails. Seems to work.
Anything else?
No, that's all I have.
Member updates?
Won't
Motion
bore
to
you with
adjourn?
anything else.
Not yet.
Oh, not yet.
No, hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I didn't get any info back yet on signs. They said they were producing them. I don't know if they've been mailed. So I can send an email to find out, hey, how are you doing? I mean, as far as I know, they could be sitting at the DPW barn right now. That came, UPS, so who knows. Final report? Have you dabbled in that yet?
Yes, I have about 3 pages have been done. I'm trying to compile all of the invoices and double check the with Carrie with the what's coming in and out of it to make sure I have everything so I can send that in. But yeah, I've been working diligently on that, and it took me a while to figure out like what is it that I'm writing. I'm like, how do I don't even bother with, and then going through some of the photos, I go, oh. You guys all went outside and took pictures standing like this in February. So I found that, and I'm like, oh, that's a nice, good paragraph in there. Well, that's good. And then I'm finding all the
Don't put
invoices.
the one in with the misspelled one, okay?
So I'm trying. So I'm just trying to create the timeline of how the work went. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out the timeline of how the work went through all the files, and then once I get that all compiled, then I'll get all the invoices together. So that should be done by the middle of next week.
All right, I think I have. So if you're not sure on the sign installs, I probably have most of it on my phone. So
Yeah, I think I have it on here. I
Okay.
think you sent them, so I just got to go through
okay,
that.
okay.
So I'm just working on getting the timeline worked out on how the progress went, because I don't, why there was such a delay. Was there a reason why there was such a delay? Because there was things that happened in 2021, but then the signs didn't go in to this past year. So it seems to be there was quite a delay.
Joanne left.
Okay, then that was it. Okay.
And we were taking it over.
We had some challenges with regards to some installs and
Okay. Yeah, I know there was an issue with the Nashua River one, and that didn't end up going through.
it wasn't even that. It was more the are we following the proper
Okay.
town procedures with
Yeah.
regards to
Okay. I
following
want to
the
make sure
bylaw?
I'm putting, when I put the timeline and they're not
It
questioning,
says-
like, why was this a gap? I want to make sure I can explain it
Yeah, just
properly.
put it on the fact that we lost our agent.
Yeah, no, that, I'm sure that had
That's
something to
easy.
do with it, because I'm starting to compile that, and I'm just like, wait a minute, how did you do this? And then I find emails from like 6 months beforehand with quotes, I'm like, what?
Actually, if you do check, I think I probably copied you
Hard-working
On the-
volunteer board had to step up.
email that said, when we asked for the extension.
Yeah, I found the letter for the extension. Yeah.
Use that mainly as your,
Okay, all right, I'll double
I wouldn't
check that.
deviate from that since that's what we told them.
Yeah, I will do that. I think I found it, so I'll do that.
And it was true.
Yeah, not that we lied, that's what happened.
Yeah, at least they're lucky enough to, they granted it for you.
Yeah, so I think that's it.
Yeah, that's,
Oh, I did hear at CPC, Beth Sudemeyer said that the Nashua, the stewardship program, the grants, that she did hear that Pace did get
oh yeah, paste, yeah.
get their grant
Yeah,
for
sorry,
the
they
water
did.
chestnut pole.
They did, yep, for the full amount that they requested,
Okay.
including for the purchase of the kayak, so yeah. So I told her to let us know when they're gonna start doing anything, and moving forward, so we can, work with her on that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Say nay. Passes unanimously.